for us. I pay obeisance to those who spilled their blood. I pay obeisance to those who died fighting for Yoruba people. I pay obeisance to those who died in the Battle of 1840. I pay obeisance to those who died in the Battle of 1825. I greet all our allies. I greet the Baribas. I greet those who created Ile-Ife. I pay obeisance to Oduduwa. I pay obeisance to all living and non-living. I pay obeisance to all the ancestors of Yorubaland. I pay obeisance to all those who have died in this revolutionary struggle. I pay obeisance to all those who have sacrificed their lives, the lives of their children, to the Moremis, to the Oduduwas, to the Oromias. I pay obeisance to those who shall come before us and spill their blood for the struggle for the emancipation and the freedom of the Yoruba people. I pay obeisance to those who dwell in the middle of the heavens, who intercede for the Yoruba people. I pay obeisance to Olodumare. I pay obeisance to the source of all civilization. I pay obeisance to those who believe that freedom is the right of all people across the world. I pay obeisance to all patriotic Yoruba people across the world. The Yoruba people are an empire-building people. We've been before many empires existed, and we shall be when many empires do not exist. Today, we speak about a very important topic, a very important day, when we are talking about will the Yoruba people exist in the next 200 years. Will the Yoruba people still speak Yoruba in our space? Would we still identify as Yoruba people? Will our children not be told they should shut up when they identify as Yoruba people? What is the situation of the Yoruba people as we speak currently? Do we have a stand? Do we have a chance to exist in the next 200 years? These are rhetorical questions, and I pay obeisance to the elders in the house that have spoken before me. Today, I am not here to make you happy. Today, I'm not here to make you smile. This is not a conference of a tea party. This is not a conference where everybody will move around and you laugh. This is not a conference of laughing. This is a conference where you have to be sober. If you are a Yoruba man or woman and you want your people to survive. In the 19th century, which was called the century of blood and iron, 40% of the Yoruba people were taken into slavery via transatlantic slavery. The Yoruba people were taken off their lands. The Yoruba people were taken off their space. The Yoruba people were taken off everywhere we were. We were dislocated from our spaces. It is unfortunate that this generation, it is a generation that decided that they want to perish. It is a generation that has decided that they want to assimilate. It is a generation that want to please their enemies instead of fighting for their survival. I will talk about the different people that have gone extinct. I will talk about the different people that have expired. And I will talk about the different people that have been able to bring their civilization back into survival. So the first thing I will talk about is talking about the Circassians. The Circassians were a very powerful people that had their own nation states. They had their own civilization, their own country in the 18th, even towards the 19th century. But due to war, the Circassians became assimilated and they were uprooted out of their lands. The identity of the Circassians, it is now in the museum. The question I want to ask us again is that we all remember Sudan. Do you know the meaning of Sudan? Sudan means the land of the blacks. Sudan means the land of the black people. For the meaning of the land of the black people, the question I want to ask us again is this. What does Sudan represent currently? Sudan represents Arab world. That is what brings this important terminology I want to use, which is called the replacement theory. Yoruba man, Yoruba woman listening to me, if you really want to live forever, like the Spartans used to say, you have to understand that your first panacea and your first solution is Yoruba nationalism. I want those in this room and those listening to me to please pay me rapt attention. I beg you. If you want to live forever, the only solution is hardcore Yoruba nationalism. It is thinking Yoruba first in your economics, in your marriage, in your academics, in your technology, in your politics, in everything you do. Without you defending and upholding your own Yoruba identity, there is no Yoruba nation. We are going to be foolhardy to think we are going to achieve Yoruba nation when we do not understand the need to protect Yoruba nationalism, when we do not see the need to protect Yoruba identity. The Yoruba people became Nigerians through war. We became Togolese through persecution, and we became Beninois through torture. The Yorubas became Brazilians through slavery. We became Cubans through subjugation. Our identity is an identity of genocide, and our identity is an identity of humiliation. Again, I would like to also make an example that Ile-Ife can still be Ile-Ife, and another people will replace us in Ile-Ife, and there is nothing that will happen to us. The world will move on. Half of the states in the United States of America probably represents indigenous lands and indigenous communities in America. Oklahoma, Mississippi, all these places belong to the Native Americans. These were their lands. And why was their lands? And why belong to the Native Americans? But the question I want to ask us is this. They have been replaced. They have been replaced. And we see a good example in Ilorin, in Yorubaland. Ilorin can still be Ilorin. The Yoruba people can still form a part of a society, of a population in any space. But the reality, the civilization, the control, the political and economic control of those spaces can be taken away from you. That you are indigenous to a space does not mean you cannot be taken over. That is what brings us this reality. Because when we talk about Yoruba nationalism, we are not talking about Yorubas of Nigeria. We are talking about the Yoruba people across the world. Those that were uprooted from their land through slavery, and those that were taken up their space through economic starvation. The Yoruba people will live amongst our enemies across the place where we've been. From Togo to Benin Republic, to Nigeria, to Sierra Leone, to Brazil, we are a people that are envied by everybody. Everybody wants our land. Everybody wants our space. Everybody wants to be who we are, but they hate us for who we are. Everybody wants to be who we are. They want to be Yoruba so badly, and they hate what Yoruba represents. They know who we are, that they are we sons and kings. We are kings and queens, descendants of the gods, descendants of the invisibles. That is who the Yoruba people are. We are a special people, a unique people, a wonderful people, the bastion of black civilization. The Yoruba civilization can rival the Greek civilization. We can rival the Babylonian civilization. We can rival the Egyptian civilization. We can rival the Chinese civilization. We can rival the Indian civilization. We can rival the Japanese civilization. We can rival the Aztec civilization. We are a civilization building people. We built empires. We were the first urbanized people in Sub-Saharan Africa. When other peoples were still living in their primitiveness in villages, in champs, in hamlets, the Yoruba people were building cities. Before the existence of Lisbon, Ile-Ife existed. Before the existence of several European cities, Oyo existed, Katunga existed. That is how powerful we are. We built empires. We built the Ife Empire. We built Owu Empire. We built Oyo Empire. We built Ibadan Empire. But what is the glory of claiming the glories of yesteryears when the descendants of those who built these great civilizations are no more? Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. The question I want to ask you, where are those who built the civilization of Sudan? Sudan has more. When we talk about Egypt, the people of Egypt have been replaced by Arabs. When we talk about Sudan, the people of Sudan has been replaced by Arabs. The Yoruba people, I want to ask you, anywhere you're listening to me today, do you want to be replaced? Do you want your space to be taken over? The question I want to ask you, when some people write jargons, when some people intellectualize genocide and tell you your Yoruba identity is rubbish, when some people legalize genocide and a lot of sons of perditions were clapping for them that the Yoruba identity is nonsense, what they are telling you that you have no right to exist, what they are telling you that you have no right to be who you are. The question I want to ask you, you Yoruba man listening to me, do you want to live forever? Do you want to hand over Yorubaland to the coming generation? Do you want your people to be able to speak your language? Do you want your people to be able to identify for what they are? Brothers and sisters, every moment we spend in Nigeria under the current status quo, we are marching towards the museum. The existence of the Yoruba people in the next 40 to 50 years is not guaranteed. You see, when we say Yorubaland, Yoruba resources, even within the concept of Nigeria should be controlled by Yoruba people, you see a lot of people ganging up to destroy us. People we share nothing in common with except the colonial masters. This is the problem we have. This is what we are facing. It's unfortunate. Even amongst those who call themselves Yoruba nationalists, they do not see the reason why Yoruba people should exist. Brothers and sisters, listening to me. Brothers and sisters, anywhere you are across the world, do you speak Yoruba to your kids at home? Do you even tell them about Yoruba history? Do you even Yorubanize them, or you want to be British, you want to be American, you want to be German, you want to be Japanese? You even tell them they should be Nigerians. And for political purposes, people target the Yoruba identity for ridicule to get political support. Those are the characteristics of people that will go extinct. When people take your identity for political gains, when people rubbish you, that is a people that will not survive. That is what we're talking about. A lot of intellectual works have been done as regards to demographic changes within Yorubaland. But I'll be specific about the Yorubas of Nigeria. But I will say this. Our people that were taken out through the transatlantic slave trade, 300, 200, 100 years ago, they still protect Yoruba spirituality. They are happy to identify as Yoruba people. You dare not tell them not to identify as Yoruba people. Millions, I said millions of a lot of indigenous Africans who are taken out or rooted out of motherland, Africa. We are the only people that survived. We are the only people that survived. Yorubaland lives forever. Yorubaland lives forever. We shall live forever. Those that do not want us to survive, we shall see them no more. I will also proceed to tell you about the geopolitical reality of what Nigeria is all about. Nigeria is not a nation, it's a country of nations. For you to regard Nigeria as a nation is to be a fool. For you to see your Yoruba man in Benin Republic and Togo as your enemy, and you are seeing an Hausa man, Fulani man, or Igbo man, Ijaw man within Nigeria as your brother is the definition of madness. Because borders were set up to destroy us, The first border was the 1884 Berlin West African Conference. And when you set up borders, the borders were done in order to de-ethnicize us, in order to de-Yorubanize us. That is why our enemies will tell us not to interact with the Yorubas of Benin Republic. Our enemies, even though they are black as charcoal like us, that is why many of us do not subscribe to the satanic agenda, to the diabolical agenda of Pan-Africanism, Africa without borders. It's absolute nonsense. Even hellfire has its own gates. Even heaven has gates. Why should Yorubaland not be controlled by Yoruba people? If we do not do the necessary, the damage Nigeria has done to us will continue to exist. And even our enemies will continue to use the Nigerian structure to de-Yorubanize us, to de-ethnicize us. I'll also give a good example. After the 1884 Berlin West African Conference, the British went further. They made sure that the Yorubas in Kwara, what we call Kwara and Kogi, were never part of the Western region or Southern Protectorate. That was another form of the Berlin Conference. So we were taken apart in 1984, further taken apart by 1914. They went further. They created the state structure within Nigeria. So that the Yoruba man in Ogun, we see the Yoruba man in Oyo as different. The Yoruba man in Oyo, we see the Yoruba man in Ekiti as different. The Yoruba man in Lagos, we see the Yoruba man in Osun as different. And our enemies continue to tell us, oh, you are a Yoruba man from Osun, you should not have anything to do with the Yoruba man of Lagos, because Nigeria reality made it so. A non-Yoruba, we have the full chest to come out and utter profanities, to tell a Yoruba man in Ijaye that he has nothing to do with the Yoruba people in Ijaye, in Lagos. That is what Nigeria does. It is creating borders. That's what Nigeria does. Creating borders, changing our reality as we see ourselves. And the state structure also creates a different identity. So this is what we're talking about. It doesn't matter on all levels. From the 1884 Berlin West African Conference and within Nigeria, and war has been declared on the Yoruba identity. Because anybody who changes your identity determines your future. I want to ask you, brothers and sisters, where you're listening to me, all the state structures that you have within the contraption called Nigeria, even the Nigerian contraption itself, even the colonial structures within Africa itself, tell me which Yoruba man did any of this. Which Yoruba man built, created Oyo State, Osun State? Never, we didn't do this. Which Yoruba man did built, created Benin Republic? We didn't do this. Which Yoruba man called the Yorubas of Kwara Kogi Northerners? We didn't do this. Every of this reality was forced on us. So we are living a fake life. We are living a fraudulent reality. Our reality has been substituted. And when you are an ethnic nation, you look at the world through another man's lenses, you are going to go extinct. We are the only people within the contraption of Nigeria without agenda. We just want to party. We just want to marry. We have no future. A people without directions. Our elders have lost it, and our children have become wayward. Our wise men have been bought, and the men of valor, they've been shut up, our enemies. This must not continue. This has to change. If we don't want Yoruba people to get destroyed, it doesn't matter. If anybody tells you that, oh, what they are saying is a lie, you will be surprised about what is about to happen. To the Yoruba politicians, I know a lot of people hate you people, and some of us don't like you people because you've never spoken up for us when we needed you. All what you do is to become the gatekeepers of the Nigerian contraption. But you are a Yoruba politician because Yoruba people voted for you. You are a Yoruba politician because you have a Yoruba constituency. The day Yoruba people are replaced is the day your political empire gets destroyed. When Yoruba people no longer occupy Ikeja, when Yoruba people no longer occupy Osogbo, when Yoruba people no longer occupy Ibadan, and we are replaced by other ethnicities, that is the day your political empire is destroyed. Don't you look at the Northerners? Despite the fact that they are within the Nigerian contraption, they've always protected and defended their civilization. Within Nigeria, they have built another civilization within the civilization. This is where I'm going to be talking about the geopolitical reality of Nigeria once again. Nigeria is not a nation, as I've said. It's a clash of civilization, but it's an Islamic civilization. You have to know this reality. The East, what we see in the East currently, is a form of Igbo nationalism spiced up with Zionism. The question I want to ask you, the Yoruba man listening to me, apart from shouting Yoruba nation now, what is the ideology in which Yoruba people are functioning? None. In Yorubaland, we have a lot of people who believe they are Christians first before being a Yoruba man. In Yorubaland, we have a lot of damaged people who believe they are Muslims first before being a Yoruba man. We are in Yorubaland, we have a lot of people who believe that they are traditionalists before being a Yoruba man. That's the reality. We will say it the way it is. We have a Yoruba man with some Yoruba people who do not see any reason for the Yoruba people to exist. Now, when we have this Tower of Babel within an ethnic nation, their destruction is guaranteed. If you look at what is currently happening within the political reality of Nigeria, I'm going to say it the way it is. That's why I said I'm not here to make you smile. I'm here to make you think and go home and stop becoming part of the cannon fodders used to destroy your race. If you look at the current reality of the political going on within Nigeria, some people are coming to tell Yoruba people, oh, we are Muslims, vote for us because of Islam. Some people are coming to tell Yoruba people, Christians, we are Christians, vote against your people because we are Christians. We are politically divided. We are ideologically divided. We are a people that are about to self-implode and destroy ourselves. Must this continue? You can shout Yoruba nation from now to tomorrow. If you do not get the ideology right, you are going to go extinct. That is why Think Yoruba first. We believe a new ideology must come forth, just like the way the sun rises, which is the ideology of pan-Yorubanism, which embodies the totalitarian philosophy, the total philosophy of the Yoruba self-preservation, ethnic consciousness. Yoruba people want to be on our lands for the next 1,000 years. Empire rises, empire falls. Nigeria was created and Nigeria will go down. It's a matter of time. We do not say we are not here to be a prophet of doom. Tell me any empire that have never gone down. The Roman Empire went down. Babylonian Empire went down. Egyptian Empire went down. Even the Great Oyo Empire went down at the point in time. When all this Nigerian Empire goes down, where will the Yoruba people be? Where are we going to be? Are we going to be in Europe? We are going to enter Nigeria with 400 local governments. I'm giving an example. And we are going to leave Nigeria with just 2 local governments. Because the remaining 390 local governments have been settled and we have been replaced by our enemies, by outsiders. This is the reality. This is the reality we need to talk about. Our language is not on the verge of extinction, because you look at the Nigerian reality. Look at the madness we were taught in schools, that our language is vernacular. Our language is backward, and we continue to propagate genocide. The Nigeria itself has been weaponized against us. Our kids and our children go to do NYSC, and in NYSC they tell them, if you dilute your gene pool, you intermarry with other ethnicities, the Nigerian government will give you money. That is the only time Nigerian government gives free money. They give you free money to engage in genocide. That is what it is. Then why is it a genocidal program? In order to dilute our consciousness. Because when you stop being Yoruba and you do not see the need and the connection to your land, to your ancestry, to who you are, it is very, very easy and possible for anybody to tell you Ruga and you are going to accept it. It is very, very easy to tell you, destroy your indigenous rights. Just sign this paper and destroy your indigenous rights so that the children of settlers will have the same rights with the children of Arekurumi, people who died in battle defending Yorubaland. That's the reality. Brothers and sisters, before I go back to sit down back humbly, I want to tell you some fundamental facts about the Yoruba identity. The Yoruba identity is not just a piece of paper. Some people died for it. Some people bled for it. Some people cried for it. Some people starved for it. Some people became homeless for it. Some people were persecuted for it. Some people were enslaved for it. Some people were buried alive for it. Some people went into total exile. Some people went into extermination for it. Some people sacrificed their children for it. For you to be Yoruba. To be Yoruba is not just a piece of paper. It's a spiritual identity. It's in the blood. It is genetic. It is the source of all things of who you are. When you stop being Yoruba, you are dead. When you stop being Yoruba, you are no more. It is an identity. The way the radical Islamists will fight to fight against blasphemy, it should be how you fight and die for Yoruba nationality. That's what it is. Anybody who asks you to do otherwise is your enemy. Anybody who tells you your Yoruba identity, who preaches neoliberalism to you, is your enemy. That is what it is. Because it is an identity forged in blood, and we shall preserve it with our blood. Thank you very much.
Wow. A round of applause for you, sir. Thank you, Arekumi. Thank you, Arekumi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Omo mi rántí ọmọ Odùduwà láyé ọjọ́ yẹn lóko ẹrú. Nígbà tí ẹ pọ̀ jù ọ́, wọ́n wá ké Olúwa. Olúwa ní ẹ mọ̀ ṣe bẹ̀rù, má dá yìí lóhùn o. Olúwa sì wí pé mi ti rí pọ́ntù yín, mo sì gbọ́ pé yín o. Òjíṣẹ́ ni ó sọ̀kalẹ̀ wá láti dáàbò bò yín, yóò sì kórè kò yín. Láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà wọ́n jáde lóko ẹrú.